Welcome back to Granja Caimito in the Pedroches Valley of Andalusia, Spain. I did promise you an update on the whereabouts of the cat. She's been roaming the place overnight, and here she is, coming back to get her food. It appears she's not only interested in the food, but also in the human providing it. That is very nice.
Kinds of cats. Shall we take a peek of the cat? Oh, kitty cat. Big cat.
Last week, one of us, Angel, who knows how to use the welding machine, has started to build this base for the first egg mobile. It's going to be a smaller one, but this is for a few chickens in zone B to get started. And of course there the corners are a little bit narrow, so we walked around with a measuring tape and figured out what the maximum width and length for this trailer could be. And this is the beginning of it. And we have a little workshop here. It's makeshift, and of course there's the problem with the roof. So this is what used to be the pig shelter from the previous owner that never got approved to be used as a pig shelter. And we use this since then as a workshop, and there's a storage area for feed, and there in the background you see the pellets to keep the house warm when winter comes around. So like that. And of course we have to make up a few things like these blocks here with the material that we have. So it's basically using leftover material from other things that we wanted to do, but it's coming along, and over time this will be an egg mobile with enough space for two nesting boxes. We got the plants from Richard Perkins from Richdale Permaculture there in Sweden, and this is wide enough to accommodate two of those nesting boxes, and the perches will be on the other side. So it's a very similar design. We will see what Angel will come up with, but he's got the plans, and we will see. So he basically does this alone, and here and there the other guys or myself lend him a hand. And this is how it goes. And here we have a welding machine. It's gas powered, so we can use this to weld anywhere. It makes a lot of noise, obviously, but this is what we need to do because our solar system would not provide enough power for welding. Not yet. Once we have the big barn built, then of course we will have a lot more panels there step by step. And then we might do everything electric. But for the time being, we use a gas-powered welder. Power tools like this one here to cut things. And of course we have the miter saw here that has a special blade for cutting metal. And it works also very well for that. And this is all battery powered. So a while ago we bought into the DeWalt system with those 18 or 54 volt batteries, like the one here. And it's working great so far. We built the house with that. And you will then see how it goes along. And by the way, this here, this earthway planter or seeder, is what we used the last time when we seeded some corn in an area where we had the pigs before. There is one of the earlier videos about that. And this of course requires soil that is loose enough. And it took a lot of effort to get this soil there, even after the pigs had left, into a state of looseness that this cedar can actually be used. So it was not simple, and that is one of the challenges that we have, because the moment the ground is not wet anymore, it gets so hard that it's like concrete, because there is only a little bit of biomass in the soil. So we need to fix that or use heavy machinery until we have it fixed and we have deep and rich soil. So this is a great tool, but of course it's made for a market garden where you basically work in compost, and that's the perfect condition for it, but not in our case. I have been in touch with a company in South Africa that makes very rugged, direct seeders or seed drills, and maybe we get one of those to use this in going forward. Can be used behind a two-wheel tractor or even drawn by animals, or there is a two-row version of it that can be used with a mini tractor. And that might be interesting in our case, because when we have those 4,000 square meter paddocks, there's not a lot of room to maneuver with a larger machine. So anything small but still powerful or rugged enough might then be very handy. We will see, but there's a lot of investigation going on when I have time to do this. And we tried already a few of the tools, like that one here. We will keep this around and use it later when we actually want to have something like a market garden, and that will maybe then be on the berms once we have enough soil based on a lot of cover crop and decomposition of it. So it will all come together, but it takes a while. So right now I mentioned something that is maybe 2 or 3 years away from now, but you have to get started with a lot of things in order to build a farm from scratch. If we were just doing what everybody else does, then it would be ranching, and that's it. And speaking about ranching, that is how it looks usually like in this area. This is one of the cows from the neighbor who is not able to maintain his fence because he's a tenant. But I have news. There has been a court verdict and he now has to leave within the next 30 days. Well, that is a lovely sight in the afternoon sun. What you see there is Panicum maximum. That's the seed that we imported. It came from Brazil. Had no good luck with it so far. But here in those 2 circles of straw where we bale grazed, it was able to establish itself and stand its ground. And now with the additional moisture and still warmer temperatures, it is growing. So we do have Panicum maximum, but it's only in these 2 spots. I'm looking around and I don't see it elsewhere, so no need to pan the camera. It's not there. It's the only place. So that means we definitely need to protect this now that we start grazing, so that this can go to seed. And maybe we will have a little bit more, and this is then our Panicum maximum paddock. And hopefully it can manage to establish itself, because that seed was awfully expensive. 20 kilo cost €200, and that is all we got. It's been a while since the last rain. I would think, without looking at the calendar, at least 2 weeks. And during those 2 weeks it has been clouded a little bit. And of course there's the moisture from the condensation during night, but direct rain we did not have. And that means where there is no grass or other plants with enough leaf surface, that will again dry out. So here, this is part of A15. There we have a lot of biomass and leaf surface, and this continues to grow in the sun because the moisture in the soil is protected, And of course there is replenishment every night when the condensation happens. But in other areas, like this one right here, at the entrance, there is nothing happening. Or the growth has been stopped by the lack of moisture. And the same goes for this piece here. So there's a little bit green spot, and then all around it, this could be taller. But with lack of rain, this is stalled. So that is the problem that we currently have. And I hope we will get more rain so that this continues. It will come, of course. But at the moment, for our plan of grazing the following Monday, today is Wednesday. No, it's not Wednesday, it's Tuesday. But for the grazing that we want to do on the following Monday, I don't think this will be in the beginning of the grazing. This will be a short round, nap a little bit here and there, maybe an hour in a paddock, and out they go, something like that, very quick. So that there's some hoof action, maybe some additional manure being deposited, but we cannot really leave them in a paddock overnight. So that means they will be coming from up there, from the sacrifice paddock, as we called it, CT1, and they will come along the pathway, enter here. We will try to do some strip grazing to improve the bunching factor and the density, so that they nip a little bit, and then we push them out again, back up there for the night. And this might be a very short gig here for them, maybe just 2 hours, and then that's it. And we will then probably do this in other areas, depending on how the grass looks like. So hitting it a little bit is okay, but we cannot leave them, because then they will definitely overgraze. And what I'm looking for, as far as I understand the idea of how grazing works, we also need the hoof action and we need the manure. So the more we have them bunched, and even if it's for a very short time, it might be as short as 30 minutes. That is a good thing, but leaving them here is a bad thing. As I'm on my way back to the compound, I find the usual suspects here. They can smell the green grass that we have on our side, while on theirs, there is nothing, because they continuously graze it off. Like I just mentioned, there has been a court verdict by now, and that means the tenant has to give back the land to its rightful owner, and then we will see what will happen. We are in talks with that owner, so we might be able to restore this land in collaboration with the owner. But I cannot make any promises yet, that would be premature, but at least on paper, the tenant problem has now been solved. The question is whether these people actually will leave, or we will have to witness a forceful eviction. We will also have to fix this now for real, because we need to protect our grass that is now growing. The dogs are there, and they pay attention, but of course from up there they can only bark whenever the alien cows are right here in front. This might help so that they will not go up the driveway, the easement, and try to enter our paddocks in a different corner, but we have fixed this by now, so it should be pretty hard to do. But of course they cannot do much from up there, and I cannot let them loose, because they will chase them and do more harm than good. But at least they maintain a presence there and send a message, which is good. Now that we know where things stand, we can be a little bit more decisive. And so we decided to do some work on someone else's property in order to protect ours. We took most of these things from our scrap pile, and they are now building a sturdy fence, makeshift of course, but it will do, so that those cows will not come through here anymore. While the guys finish up the fence, I can show you how this land looks like. This is continuous grazing, and it has been going on for years here, and how it looks like here at the entrance is representative for how the whole land looks like. So it's really in bad shape, and it has gotten the same amount of rain as we have. We are right next door to it. This should now do to keep our pasture protected until the tenant is finally gone.